Hi folks, Josh Spencer here with Hittermass Outdoors. Today I'm going to be building some swarm traps to catch me some wild honeybees. And I'm going to show you what I'm doing, and maybe you all want to go out and get you some honeybees too. I'm using 3/8 plywood, and I've got laid out 8-inch wide by 20-inch long, 2 of those, and then 20 by 20 squares for the front and back. And I've got 8 3/4 by 20, 2 of those for top and bottom. So Owen is here with me. Say hi, Owen.
Hi.
And he's going to help me to show you all how we're building our swarm traps, so stick with us. Here you go, Owen, you take over. Don't hit that button.
Okay.
Alright, so I got everything out of my way. I've got enough for my first trap laid out. I'm going to hook up my saw. And better get me some safety glasses, because when you're using a circular saw, you throw some sawdust. So we don't want to get that in our eye. Make sure you keep you some safety glasses. Alright, I'm going to start on this edge, back up a little bit, Okay, got my sawhorses set to where I'm not cutting over top of them, just off of them. So I'll start at the end here. Go and come around. Stand over by that plywood. And I will run up lengthwise of this first. See how we're lined up. I'm going to cut right on my line. Look at me. When you stop your skill saw, it's important to stop with your saw still in the board. You don't want to pick it up. It'll grab a chunk and mess up your board. So you let it stop, then you can pull it out of there. So I'm going to get all this cut up, and then we'll show you what we're going to do next. Alright, we've got our pieces cut off here. Here's 2 8-inch by 20, 2 20 by 20, and 2 8 3/4 by 20. Alright, so I'm going to get my air hose, which is all coiled up underneath here. There we go. And use this staple gun until I'm going to attach them. Thank you to my dad for that. He gave me that staple gun. Alright. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this on the side, line my 8-inch piece up with my 20-inch. I'm going to come down here, use the edge of my plywood to hold it straight. And I'm going to go barely up here and shoot me a staple. Barely up again. That thing really touchy. There's one side attached. Y'all can see. I'm going to do the same to the opposite side. Okay? Alright folks, as you can see here, I've got my side stapled on to my back. And the reason I call that my back is because there's no holes in it. And that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to take this piece here of plywood that'll be my front, and I'm going to go about, I'd say 3/4 to an inch up in the center, and I'm going to put in this hole here. Let me find my tape measure and I'll tell you what size I'm going to use. This is 1.5 inch hole saw. And I'm gonna go about 10 inches over, make me a mark at 10 inches. This is a 20-inch board. And go up about, say, 1 3/4 up. That'll be the center of my hole. So there's where I need to drill. And I'm going to put this hole in here. And I'm also going to attach some wire. It's a 1/2 inch square wire with a little stapler on that hole to keep birds and mice out. So we'll get that hole put in there and we'll show it to you. Alright, so there is on the inside of what my hole looks like. Put an 1.5 inch hole with wire in it. I don't know if y'all can see it very good. There we go. That way, like I said, birds and mice can't get in there. Owen, you take care of the camera, and I'll show them what I'm going to do next. Now I'm going to take this, now that I got the hole in there, I'm going to set it on top here and attach it to my 2 sides just like the bottom is. Alright? Let me get my staple gun, we'll get her attached. Alright, there's the front of my bee trap. Got my sides mounted on. Back. Now, I'm going to turn it up. Now, attach the top and the bottom board. That's the 8 3/4 by 20 inch boards. Let's get it attached. Let's see what it looks like here. Alright folks, I've got my bottom put on. You can see it's stapled on solid. One thing I didn't say is the top has to be removed. So instead of stapling it solid, I'm going to use some screws and run down through the top, pre-drill my holes so it doesn't split out, and that way when I get the bees I can open the top and get my bees out. So I'll get them drilled and attached. We'll see you in a minute. Alright, there is my top. I just put 4 screws in it, and that is going to cover my trap. You can see there, it's all boxed in. So now I'm going to take the top board off and put me a couple boards in there on the ends. I'm going to go a 1/2 inch down and put me a couple 3/8 thick boards to hang my frames on. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. Alright, so here is the piece of wood I put across the top. Put it on each side. That is going to hold my frames. These are pre-waxed frames. They've got beeswax on them, and they should sit right in there like that. I'm going to put 5 in this box, but before I do any of that, I am going to put a cover over this. I got these online, I think Amazon, and I'm going to mount it so that the hole lines up, and then when I spin it, I can close these bees off once they swarm in there and they're trapped, and I'll bring them home. I'm also going to do some other stuff to make it more appealing. I'll show you that more in a second. Alright folks, so I've got my door on here. You see it here, Owen? Can you come up closer? There's my door, and when the bees are in there and swarm at night, I'll go in, close that off, and I can bring them home. But I'll leave it open for now. This right here, look here, Owen. This is a chunk of beeswax. I used some of it and melted it and painted on some frames. And it smells really good. It smells like bees. Look up so you can see me. I actually, when I was melting this beeswax, had bees all swarming around me, and I don't have any honeybees yet. I'm just getting started. So they really like the smell of this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a torch here, and I'm going to light it, And I'm going to melt a little bit of this beeswax and let it drip down in here. Get that smell down in here. You see it dripping?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to drip some down in here. It's dripping all over. Get it up on the sides.
That's so satisfying.
Yep. Alright, you see that? There's now beeswax smell all inside of this box. But that's not all I'm going to do. Let me put this up. Got a little thing here I keep it in. Alright, I also have this. It's called Swarm Commander. Okay, and it smells like bees. You can also use lemongrass oil. But I'm going to spray down around the entrance on the inside. And some around the top here. Just a couple sprays here and there. Alright, I've put some wax in. Now I'm going to put my frames in.
What's that smell?
It's the lemongrass oil, the Swarm Commander.
Oh,
I'll
no.
set these frames in here.
No wonder I couldn't know that.
Yep, let me get my other ones. Just like this. Alright, let me show you here. You see this, Owen? There is my frames inside. There's beeswax in there. There's Swarm Commander. I'll put the top on it and I'll set it up in a tree or maybe up on a roof or something. Somewhere a little bit off the ground. You don't want it right on the ground. And that smell hopefully will get the honeybees. I'll show you here. This lid will go on like that. Screw it down, and when I get bees, I'll just close them up in there, bring them home, and put them in my hives. One thing that you need to make sure of, if you use untreated plywood especially, you need to paint it or use some kind of water seal so it doesn't rot on you. You don't want to just get 1 year out of these and that's it. You know, to save you time and money, go ahead and get you some outdoor paint or some Thompson's water seal, something like that, and put on it and try to protect it, let it last you for several years. Here's my traps put up in my building after I had them out all season here. I did have a few squirrels eating on the corners of my plywood and stuff. I guess you'll have that. May have to replace that board in that one. And I did put a couple, like the moisture outside made them swell. So I put these angle brackets to help hold down on a few of them that were pulling up on the corners. But that's my traps I used. One thing I gotta tell you all is when you put the frames in these traps, I grabbed some medium frames, but that's really not right. You need to use deep frames if you're going to put them in a deep box. You know, that way when they fill up the frame, start coating it with wax, making comb, or whether or not you already have drawn out comb, you can put them straight in your like 5-frame nook or whatever box you want. So make sure that you use the frames in those traps that you're going to put into your box. It makes it a lot easier. So I went ahead and put my bee jacket on here. I caught the bees, and when you catch your bees, you will want to go and get them, the swarm, at night. That's what I have figured out. That's the easiest way. You can do it during the day, but it's best to do it, like I said, at night. You're gonna lose bees if you do it during the day. At night, all the bees have come back. They're inside, and I had that little dial. You just close them off, and you've got them. When I got back, I waited till the next day, and it was plenty of ways, so I didn't have to wait. You know, if it's really close to where you caught them, they say you should wait a couple days before you open it up and let them out, stuff like that, so they reorient. Or you can put something in the entrance so they reorient, you know something's different. But I took the top off and set my frame straight into another box. It was a big swarm of bees, so it was like 5 frames of bees, so I put them in a 10-frame box and put them all in the center. That way they stay warm together, and then after they've built out some comb and got some brood, I started checkerboarding them and putting an empty frame of brood, empty frame of brood. That way they would start filling out the other frames, because I'm a new beekeeper and I didn't have any frames filled out. But here's what I've got now. Let me show you. Turn this thing around here. This is one of the hives here. And you can see my bees going in and out. They started out with this bottom 10-frame box, and they filled it pretty much up. So I added this second 10-frame box and took some of the brood out of the bottom into the second one and checkerboarded them, put them, empty brood, and they filled it out. Well, then they've done so well that I put some of the frames they had filled with honey, already started your nectar, and put it in this other one, and had put a queen excluder. It's not in there right now, but I did have it. And I'm a first-year beekeeper and got some honey out of this one this year. So that was really neat. Let me see here if I can. Some of these boxes I've got from a company called Weaver, and they have holes. There's some small hive beetles here I'm gonna kill while I'm in here. But they have a hole in the side of plexiglass and ventilation that you can look in and see some of the bees. So I get in here and look every once in a while. That's a frame that's in there they haven't drawn out yet. But they are doing very, very well. This colony here, the bees that I've gotten, and I've been very fortunate to get, they're all very gentle. I haven't really had any trouble trying to get here. Turn where y'all can see my face a little bit. Well, there ain't much light here. There we go. Anyways, they're all really gentle, but I'm a new beekeeper for one, but I always wear my jacket and gloves when I'm around the bees, because I don't want to take a chance on getting stung. I have been stung through my work pants before several times, and it doesn't feel great, but it's not real bad. And for the most part, they're very gentle. Maybe when you get in and aggravate them too much, they get a little agitated now and then, but not too bad. And it's great for the environment, our garden. We've had some, of the best crop of corn and stuff we've had in a while, and our vegetables and wildflowers and stuff. And I would just, like I said, I'd recommend getting some bees if you're interested. build you one of those traps like I showed you, put it out, and hopefully you have luck and get you some of your freebies. Well, it's not free, whatever you pay for the trap, it ain't that much. So, and then you got to buy you some boxes and stuff, but like I said, it's worth the investment. It's been really fun so far, and in another video I'll show you how I've done this year. So thank you all for joining Hit or Miss Outdoors.